Alright, cool. It says we are live. So, it says there's only 2 people on here right now, so I'm going to give it a little bit of time while I fix my, Hey, what's up, Abraham? Nice to see you, bro. I'm assuming that's you. So this is AB. But, yeah, I'm going to give a couple more minutes while I fix my microphone. It says it's a different one. 1 second, guys. Abraham, I hope that you're doing absolutely amazing, bro. I know it's been a little bit of time. Market's been pretty crazy the last few weeks, so, we're going to talk about that. But I hope that you've been good, on and off the charts. Let me... Okay, which microphone is it? It says it's this one. Alright, cool. Well, if I end up sounding weird at all, you guys just let me know. But it says my mic's connected, so... I'm not going to F1, bro. I have a lot of people that are going to it. I've never been into, that scene, but it looks really fun. So, I feel like I should go to it. If you go, then you can go for the both of us, bro. You can take a lot of pictures and go for the both of us. Alright, cool. So... if it's just going to be a little bit of a smaller call, some people text me saying that they're going to show up a little bit later, which is fine. What I'm going to be doing for this one is... I kind of don't really have the biggest plan, to be honest with it, So we haven't done the live streams in a while, just because the numbers were always a little bit inconsistent, and we had just launched the app. So now that we are officially past, 100 members, we are at... let me see what we're at. Let me share my... screen. We are at 105. So we're at 105 members inside of the Cashflow Campus app, which is really good, really good. It took a little bit longer than I thought it would. There was just a lot of hiccups, more so on the internal side of stuff. I was trying to have to figure out what we're going to be doing long term. There's a lot of hiccups with the actual onboarding process. Half the people that signed up, there should be like 150, but a lot of people signed up. And then I had to kick them out and then have them re-sign up, and then they never re-signed up. So we're still building the numbers up, but that is okay. That's part of the process, So now that we're at 100 members, or we're past 100 members, we're going to be a lot more consistent with the live streams moving forward. I'm going to at least try to commit to doing every Thursday and at least one of the student sessions. So while, for those of you guys that don't know, I do live streams that are, open to the public, and then also ones that are students only and members only. This one, for example, is, open to the public. Every Thursday, I'm going to be doing AMA sessions. I'm going to be doing some form of live trading. Like, I have the charts here. We're going to pull that up in a second. But I don't usually trade at this time. So if there's, like, an amazing trade opportunity, then obviously I'm going to take it. But I don't usually like to trade at this time of night, compared to where I used to do that back in the day a few years ago. When I do trade is in the morning. So I'm going to at least try to commit to doing at least one of the 8:15 a.m. sessions with you guys. And then commit to doing at least one of the free sessions as well. So one free and then one student only. At least, committing to that, you know what I mean? I'm more than likely, I'm going to do still the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday sessions. But just on the in case, we're going to at least do maybe at least Monday and Thursday, for example. Or maybe Wednesday, Thursday, or something of that nature. But, so what we're going to be doing... Oh, let me pull this back up. Yeah, so I have a few questions that people have been asking me about, 2 things in specific, right, is how to navigate the new program, so I'm going to be covering that, and the second thing I'm going to be covering is brokers, so which broker is best for you, and how to set your broker up, right? So the reason why I'm not just going to start with the broker is because I'm going to show you guys where you can find that information. If you are a current student, or if you're not a current student, whatever the case may be, it's the same information, and I'm just going to say this that way if people don't get on that said they were going to get on, they can at least watch the recording and get that information there. Okay, so what we are going to do first is I'm just going to show you guys an update to the platform on how to access your material. Okay, so there's two places where you guys should be able to see your courses. All right, so the first one, and it's the same thing if you're in the app or if you're on your desktop, it's the exact same thing. It's just you got to do it on your phone instead. All right, so the first place that you can access your material is underneath learning. So if you go underneath your main tabs, right, you have discussion and then learning. Here are all the different courses that you guys can watch. And also you can go to the right hand menu and click courses. All right, so when it comes to how you're supposed to be navigating the material, it's the exact same thing as we mentioned in, if you watched the last recording that we did, so we talked about that there too. But for brokers, right, that is inside of phase 2. Okay, so there are 2 brokers that you guys can use that I recommend, right? You know, there are obviously a lot more brokers that you guys have the ability to use, but it just depends on a couple of things which we will get into. But either way, I go over everything about how brokers work, like how they function, how to deposit, you know, how order execution works. Everything that you need is explained inside of these videos here. And then I go over the difference between regulated and unregulated brokers. Okay, so the main question that I get asked is which one should people pick, right? Depending on, you know, a bunch of different factors. You know, it's pretty easy to make the decision, but, you know, so I'll go over those different factors now, right? So the 2 brokers that I do recommend is either TastyFX or GatesFX, okay? And I have them, I'm not going to play the actual video here. If you guys click on the videos, I go over like a full in-depth explanation into both of them. But just to answer the questions for the sake of the recording, pretty much, right, if you go to, we'll go here, right, if you go to apps and tools, you come down here to where it says preferred broker, right, the main thing that matters is kind of your risk tolerance and your starting budget, okay? Now, the reason why I say risk tolerance and your starting budget is because if you go to the videos, right, if you're not a Cashflow student, you won't be able to watch those videos, but I have, like, shorter videos on my YouTube channel that explains brokers still, and I might upload those videos as well. That way you guys can, you know, just learn that for free, because it's very important to, you know, understand where you're putting your money and how it works once it's there. So to sum it up, when you're trading on an offshore broker or an onshore broker or a regulated versus an unregulated broker, the terms get very confused now, especially in modern times, right? Before, way back in the day, if it was unregulated, it just meant that it wasn't in the US. But now, you know, people claim that they're regulated, even if they're not in the US, but they're offshore technically, so your regulation doesn't matter to you. You know what I mean? Or their regulation doesn't matter to you because they're not where you live, right? If you're trading on a US onshore broker, the one that I recommend, right, here I say Forex.com. That's because that's the one that I currently use. But inside of the course, I cover TastyFX, right? Out of my 4 years, pretty much, of trading with regulated brokers, I would say TastyFX is better for beginners, right? TastyFX is a lot more user-friendly. They both have great customer service, but like if you're a beginner and you get overwhelmed by seeing a lot of moving parts, TastyFX is a lot more simple and their user interface is a lot easier to understand. They have a free demo account and they have great customer service, right? The problem or the limitation with TastyFX or Forex.com is that you have what's known as lower leverage. Okay, I'm not going to go into like what leverage is completely. I'm not going to go completely into what leverage is at this exact moment, right? But pretty much, what are you looking for? Oh, sorry guys. You have the box. But yeah, so what leverage is to sum it up in a little sense, right, is if you deposit, let's just say $100, the broker is going to give you the ability to trade with the buying power of $1,000. It's a very rough example. That's not exactly how it is, but basically what leverage is you get to trade bigger position sizes with less money, meaning you can make more money with less money. Okay, so a lot of people gravitate towards, you know, Forex.com or TastyFX because, you know, they're a U.S. onshore broker. They're regulated, they're safe, they're not FDIC insured, but they're safe, you know, and they're not going to go anywhere. The only limitation, though, is that those same individuals want to start trading on TastyFX or Forex.com with $100 or $200. And you can do that, but the problem is you're going to be limited to the amount of money you can make, and your trades are going to take a lot longer for it to be significant, pretty much is what it is, right? The minimum deposit for Forex.com, I believe, is $250, and for TastyFX, I believe it's $200. So it's not the most money, but it's not, you know, a little bit of money either. You know, for beginner students, most people want to start out with, you know, $50, $100. You can't do that with TastyFX. You can trade demo for free, but you can trade with real money unless you have $200 to $250. And even when you do, you're limited at 30 to 50 to 1 leverage depending on the pair that you're trading. So to sum all that up, when you compare that to GatesFX or any offshore broker, we'll go into why GatesFX in a second, but any offshore broker, right, the minimum deposit I think is like $10 or $15 or something like that. Maybe 20, I'm not too sure, whatever it is. But 10 to 20 bucks is your minimum deposit. And a better thing is you get, I believe, like 10 times the amount of leverage that you would get if you were trading on Forex.com, for example. On Forex.com, if you're trading Euro USD, you get, you know, I believe 50 to 1 buying power is what it is. But on GatesFX, you can get 500 to 1 to 1,000 to 1. So to sum it up, again, because I'm talking about this specifically for one person that has asked me about it a few times. The reason why it's better for beginners to trade on an offshore platform is because most of the time beginners want to start with a smaller amount of money, or they have to start with a smaller amount of money and grow it. And it's easier to grow your account if you have higher leverage, right? The only downside is that if you're inexperienced and you don't know what you're doing, that means you can lose your money a lot faster also. Okay, so the way that you make it work, right, is you go through the Cashflow curriculum, you go through the Cashflow campus, you watch the trading material, and you watch the information about how to trade on a demo account. And when you feel comfortable trading on a demo account, then you can trade safely with higher leverage. Okay, if you don't know what you're doing and you have absolutely zero experience in the market, then I would not recommend that you trade with, you know, 500 to 1 leverage or 1,000 to 1 leverage. I don't think that'd be smart for you to do, right? Just because you have the ability doesn't mean you always should, right? But if you know what you're doing, you've traded on a demo account for a little bit of time, and you've gained confidence in your trading strategy, then yes, it makes sense. Okay, let me take the risk. Let me start with $100. Let me start with the minimum deposit, whatever you want, and let me flip that accordingly because you have the ability to trade bigger positions safely, right? Versus starting, you can't even start with $100 on TastyFX. So that's why pretty much. So to sum it up, right? So if you're trading with an offshore broker, right, you get higher leverage, much higher leverage, meaning you can make more money using less money, but but the only thing I would recommend is that you don't deposit more than $2,500 for your first ever deposit, or ever deposit more than that, period, right? Because again, it's offshore. Right now, if you have more, if you're an older person, or you've saved up your money over the years, you just turned 18, you want to start trading, whatever it is, and you have like $5,000, for example, am I saying should you put $5,000 into GatesFX and start trading with? Absolutely not, right? I would not recommend that. And what I would recommend you do is, we can do, I would actually recommend you kind of split your numbers a little bit, even, not evenly, but look at your numbers, look at your risk tolerance, which is what we talked about in the beginning, and then make a decision, right? Maybe go 3,000 and 2,000. You know what I mean? 2,000 in Gates effects, turn that into 10, always make your withdrawals, and you go from there, and then you grow 3,000 safely into 10,000 over the next few months. Right, you can turn 2,000 into 10,000 a lot faster with Gates effects versus 3,000 into 10,000 with Forex.com or Tasty Effects, for example. It's just going to be a different position size. Literally, it's going to be 10 times bigger on Gates effects, meaning that you'll make a lot more money. Right, so if you have less than $2,500, to sum this little part of the video up, because again, I'm going to kind of clip this up and send this to people. To sum up this video, or sum up this part of the stream, is if you are trading with less than $2,500, I recommend you use any offshore broker that you do research on. If you don't feel like doing your own research and you don't feel like going through the time to see if something is credible, then I recommend that you use Gates Effects. They're the broker that I use for unregulated trading or offshore trading, whatever terminology you want to use for it. They've been around for a few years already, and they have great customer service as well. They have withdrawals. I think they get paid out in the longest my withdrawals ever taken was like 35 minutes, more or less. Which is very fast still. Do I have 40 grand in Gates effects? Absolutely not. I just don't think that's a smart thing to do. You know what I mean? But, I would comfortably trade, $2,000 to $3,000 in there, flip that to 5,000, take the money out, and you go on from there. Forex.com, though, Tasty Effects, that's a completely different story. If you have more than $2,500 to trade with, then I recommend, if you're a beginner, Tasty Effects. If you like more control in your trading and you like more, how do you say it? I guess customability or customizability, whatever, then Forex.com is a little bit better. Forex.com also has a loyalty program. If you have like more than $20,000 in your account, they pay you, I think it's like 5% a month, which is pretty cool. So they give me like $300 a month into my trading account automatically just for having unused margin. So if you're not trading, you still get paid for having the money with Forex.com. And Tasty Effects has a similar program, but it doesn't pay as much, and you need more money. You need like 30 grand compared to 20. Someone was asking a question. 23 Tony Spark. Hey, new trader here. So Gates Effects is the same chart as Tasty Effects and TradingView. Yes. So that is a good question, actually. So I need some water, dude. I'm dying over here. Okay. That is a very good question. So, all right. So let me pull up TradingView. This will be a way to explain it. Okay. So I have videos explaining. I don't know if you're a student or not. So if you're not a student, I can show you the videos that I have made about this later. If you're not a student, I'm just going to give you like the summed up answer pretty quick. Let me do this because my computer just turned on night mode and I don't want it on night mode. So what he's asking is Gates Effects the same chart as Tasty Effects in TradingView? So the answer is no, it's not, right? But is it the same pair that we're trading? Is it the same chart that? So the brokers, think about it like this: brokers are all kind of middlemen. Okay, there are different types of brokers as well. That, what am I even looking? I'm looking for a display. Sorry, Tony Spark, dude. I'm not good at multitasking sometimes. Especially when my computer is moving fucking slow. Hold on. And I've never seen it look like this ever in my entire life. System. Display. There it goes. Okay. Nightlight off. There we go. Okay. So, to answer your question, bro. So, there are different types of brokers. Okay. There are and I go over this. There are market makers and there are what is known as like STP brokers, okay? And there are ECNs, and there's a lot of different types of brokers, and I go over all of that in depth inside of phase 2, inside of the Cashflow University curriculum. All right, but either way, to answer your question, there are different types of brokers, okay? So for example, if we were to type in, right, let's go to Forex. Let's be specific, Euro USD, right? So we see all these different Euro USDs, okay? Now, the way you identify which one you're looking at, right, is right here, okay? Now, we see all of the big US regulated brokers. Now, let me make my screen a little bit smaller so you guys can actually see it, right? There we go. Okay. So over here on the right side of the screen, this is where we are seeing the different brokers that you guys can look at, right? All of these, though, are Euro USD. So the question is, Ollie, why is there so many Euro USDs? I just want to look at one so I can trade. Okay, the reason why is because each one of these brokers, right, these brokers are either acting as one of two things, right? They're acting as a liquidity provider, is what it's called, meaning that they back their own trades, meaning that they can show their own charts, okay? Or option 2 is they are giving you a visual of what their liquidity provider is giving them, okay? What is a liquidity provider? A liquidity provider can be a bank, it can be a hedge fund, it can be any form of institution or something that connects to the interbank market, okay? Where it is actually executing your actual Forex trades, right? It's a thing that actually happens when you press buy and sell, okay? Whenever you press buy and sell, you are actually trading hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of position sizes. All you do is you press 1.00, you're trading one lot, but that's actually worth $100,000, right? You're obviously not putting up $100,000, but somebody is, right? Somebody is showing the value of those trades, right? And that's known as a liquidity provider, okay? So depending on who the liquidity provider is for your broker, right, the chart could look different, okay? For example, right now on this one, right now I have Owanda for this one, and here I have Forex.com, okay? If we look right here, the prices are the same as of right now, okay? But sometimes they are a little bit different. They could even be up to 5 pips difference at certain points, right? And whenever you're trading with an offshore broker, it's fucking ridiculous, dude. Sometimes, so to answer your question, so Gates FX sucks, bro. Okay, so when you're trading with Gates, the spreads, and this is not just Gates, so let me take that back. Gates is probably the best offshore broker that you could trade with. They are the best ones, right? But when you're trading on an offshore broker, you have no idea, dude, who they are getting their liquidity from. You have no idea who they're getting their chart from, who the source is. You can't get that information from them. They won't tell you, right? But I can't remember the name, but I have asked Forex.com before. StoneX, they get their information from StoneX. That is their actual liquidity provider, and they also so happen to own Forex.com. So that's why Forex.com can show their own chart, right? No matter how many Euro USDs you look through, you'll never find one that says Hugo's Way or KOT Forex or Hero FX or Gates FX. You won't find one for an unregulated broker. For an offshore broker is the better word, not unregulated offshore. Hero FX is unregulated, right? The only offshore broker I trust putting money into in 2026 would be Gates FX, okay? For a handful of reasons. I've talked to the people that run the company, so they say, but they were very nice, very respectable individuals. I've had a lot of students that have gotten paid out, probably over, probably $10,000, $15,000 more or less as students, not even including myself. So, they pay out their money. Again, will I sit here and tell you, hey, dude, put your last, 20 grand into Gates FX? Absolutely not. I would not tell you to do that, okay? But if you only have 1,000, 100%, put that in Gates, flip that to 10, and take the 10 out, 100%. That's safe, you can do that. All right, but no matter what you do, you won't find them here, okay, on this chart, right? Reason being is because they are not a liquidity provider. So Tony Spark, to answer your question, for example, right? You see how our chart right now looks like, what's the price say it is? It's at 290. I'm not, let me see what Gates Effect says. I have it on my phone. I'll tell you. I think I have that on MT5. And that's the cool thing too, though. With any of these platforms, in 2026, a lot of people still love trading on MetaTrader 5, but you can't do that on a lot of these brokers anymore. I believe, which one is it? I think Gates Effects lets you do Trade Locker, and depending on what account, you can still do MetaTrader 5, and Forex.com. If you want to trade, you know, on MT4, MT5, Trade Locker, whatever, or even TradingView, you could connect your TradingView to your broker. How do you do that? I just don't like doing that because it adds latency. I trade on, really what I do is I analyze on my computer, and for maximum speed, because I don't have, you know, the best Wi-Fi, unfortunately, even though I pay fucking Xfinity the most money you can for Wi-Fi, it still sucks. So I actually do the execution like on my phone, but let me tell you what Gates Effect says. So right now we are seeing, let me go to the 1 minute. Okay, so this is saying that price is at 293. It was just at 287. We'll say 294 is the average. This is saying that price is at 284. So almost a, not 10 pip difference, like 10 point difference is what it would be. But the spread is a lot bigger, right? So if you look here, there's no money in this account, but the spread is a lot bigger right there compared to what the spread would be on Forex.com, okay? And the price, is it lagging? Is it ahead? Is it inaccurate? There's no way to tell, dude. It's just that's how the liquidity provider is giving the price to Forex, to Tasty FX, not Tasty FX, to Gates FX. And what Gates FX does is they add in their spread to make them their money. And that's pretty much it. So it's a different liquidity source. So what you could do is you got to trade the one, what did Tony say? They are the same thing, right? MT5 is just an advanced version of MT4. Exactly, pretty much, yeah. It's kind of stupid, though, because brokers kind of treat it like it is actual different platforms. Like some brokers like transition like from MT4 to MT5, and like newer brokers only let you use MT5 and not MT4. Like it depends on the broker itself. Like they are the same thing, just MT5 is better. I like MT4 better, but MT5 is the advanced version, but you can't use them interchangeably. Like it's different software and different systems, so there's like different login info and stuff. What was I saying? Yeah, and so what you do in order to still look at Gates Effects, still trade on Gates Effects and still trade, because, you know, it's not the biggest deal. You know, it's a handful of pips at the most, but it is still a difference. If you're scalping, it's a big deal. But if you're aiming, you know, for 20, 30 pips a trade, is it the biggest deal? Probably not. You know what I mean? From experience, it's not, you know, but it just depends on different people, right? But what you do is you just find the one that is the closest price to the price that you are seeing on Gates or any broker, right? But we're using Gates for this example. Tasty FX also does not have their own chart, right, for Euro USD, right? I'm 90% sure. I'm 90% sure Tasty does not. Oh, IG. Yeah, they do. Sorry. IG. So IG would be Tasty FX. IG is the name for Tasty FX before they became Tasty FX. Abraham asks, is the trading view on Trade Locker as accurate as the desktop? You know what I mean? It's as accurate, bro, but you know the way it is, look at it like this. Everything about trading is in speed, right? Especially when you're trading with more money and when you're trading with when execution matters, bro. Especially when you're, you know, so one of my goals that I'm working on is I eventually want to start a trading fund. That requires me to get licensed and all sorts of other stuff. But what matters at that point is speed, right? So if I can go from, if this is my money, right? And I want it to get to the interbank market. I want it to get into the Forex world, right? That way my money is participating and I'm trading. Okay, I want it to get there as fast as possible, okay? Because we're broke, technically, right? We don't have millions and billions of dollars to actually get into the Forex market. Same thing with the stock market. This is how it works with everything, okay? I'm just talking about Forex, but it's the exact same thing, okay? Unless you have literally, again, millions of dollars, you don't have the ability to actually enter the Forex market, right? In the way that we could traditionally think. So what happens is you need a middleman, okay? You need a broker, right? You need someone that is going to manage the trade, manage the risk, and do everything for you, right? Because you don't have the money, right? So, but I still don't have the money. What do? Right? They give you something known as leverage, okay? So the way the leverage works now is now your money is now worth more money, right? Instead of it being $1, you're $1. Oh, why is the market? Let me do this because the market's dropping. All right. Now your dollar is worth $100, for example, right? Because of the broker giving you leverage, right? What I was getting at though is if you have the ability to get from the broker straight to the market, do that, right? Versus adding in another layer, right? Now, if we were to put, let's do it like this, right? So let's say this is what it looks like. Before it was just one layer, right? Now if we add in TradingView and then the broker, right? If we add in MetaTrader and then the broker, if we add in anything, you know what I mean? Even TradingView, let's just say we add in TradingView and then the broker, right? What that causes is it means the money gets slowed down, right? Yes, right? You still get the same amount of leverage. Everything stays the same. But let's say, for example, right now when the market is moving like crazy and you're trying to scalp, for example, really the only big deal is if you're scalping, right? Which a lot of times is what happens. You know, high frequency trading is what happens at a macro level with AI and algorithms. So that does matter to them a lot, is speed execution, right? And even when I'm trading, dude, there have been times where you try to enter and because of the spread, especially during the news, for example, the news is a perfect example of when this would be a relevant thing, okay? Where, God forbid, you press buy and the trade has to go through TradingView first, right? And then it has to go to your broker before it gets sent to the liquidity provider, okay? The actual Forex market, right? Now, let's just say, for whatever reason, is it gonna happen, bro? Probably not, right? Is it gonna happen? Probably not, right? But is there a chance it could happen? Yes, right? Where TradingView, let's just say, for example, isn't fucking working. You know what I mean? Or they're going through a maintenance. Or a trade locker is going through maintenance, which happens every single day of the week. You know what I mean? Or MetaTrader has something happen. You know, or let's just say how a year or two ago, there was the whole scare about how MetaTrader is getting removed from the country and you can't use it anymore and all this and that. Let's just say that happens again. Now you have to go through all this fucking headache to press buy and press sell. Versus where if your broker gives you the ability to trade directly on their interface, which most US regulated brokers do, like TastyFX or Forex.com, you can get faster execution by skipping the middleman and just going straight to the market itself. So is it as accurate? I don't, because that was the question, is it as accurate? I don't think so. You know what I mean? I don't like doing my chart work on Trade Locker. I don't do chart work on MetaTrader. I don't do chart work even on the Forex.com interface. I don't do any chart work really. I only use those platforms for pressing the buy and sell button. That's it, right? And I only use Trade Locker and MetaTrader I use Trade Locker for gates because it's faster and, you know, for whatever reason. I use Trade Locker for gates and then I have a funded challenge that I haven't even like started yet, but I have it still. But that's on MT5, I believe. Let me check. I think it's MT5. MT5 or 4? 5. Yeah, so yeah, 100K challenge on MT5. Which I'm planning to start with you guys now that we're getting the streams going, you know what I mean? So we have some stuff to be excited for, okay? But either way, to sum up the question and to kind of, you know, bring this to a little bit of a close on how the platforms work, how the softwares work. So I only use TradingView for trading, right? If you have a lot of money and you have, you know, your swing trading, can you connect TradingView to your broker? Absolutely you can. Is it going to make a big deal? Absolutely not. Why? Because you're swing trading. If you're a scalper and you're aiming for, you know, fast money, fast pips. Why is there so many stuff? Fast money, and you're aiming to, you know, get in and out of the market. Even if you're doing like day trading, which is what, you know, we do pretty much, where if you're going to be in there for a few hours, a 5 pip difference makes a big difference for some trades, dude. And let's just say, I'm just saying this, right? If you don't need to connect your broker to a third-party software, don't connect your broker to a third-party software. You just don't need to. You know what I mean? Use the broker for the broker's purpose, buy and sell. But if you're a broker, like offshore brokers, they don't have their own trading interface, which they don't, right? You need to connect it to a trading interface. All TradeLocker is, all MT4 is, even TradingView, all they are trading interfaces, right? They're not brokers. They're interfaces where you connect your broker to it, right? And now TradingView, the one we're on right now, just so happens to be the #1 chart provider on the planet, right? They're the best one. Their charting is much better than any other charting on any software that you can use. It's the best one in my opinion. Easiest to understand, cleanest, most innovative. It's the best one, right? MetaTrader is, think about it like this, because trading and Forex have been around way before us, okay? So I remember my dad was using MetaTrader. What year was it, dude? 2011? You know what I mean? And it was just MT4. There was never anything else. It was just MT4 on your computer. No app, no nothing. And it was disgusting. It was an old platform. I hated using it because it would make me watch it with him. I hated it, right? But it's what existed then. Okay? Time goes on. Brokers are getting more developed. Forex becomes more popular, etc., etc., etc. They need to make improvements. MetaTrader 5 comes out. Okay? No, in between that, TradingView comes out. Right, so TradingView isn't like a competitor, but it's a similar tool that you can use. You don't need to just trade on MetaTrader, because the charting on MetaTrader is ass, dude. It was disgusting. I'm telling you, it was disgusting. Okay, understanding that, TradingView gives you a better charting experience, but at that time it was limited. You couldn't buy and sell on TradingView. All you could do was look at a chart. Okay, so MetaTrader still was being the platform for broker connection for Forex. Okay, TradingView comes out, time goes on, yada, yada, yada. Forex becomes more popular. They need to make improvements. MetaTrader 5 comes out. Nobody really likes it, right? And then, boom, a few years ago, a few people, Owen Morton, and I think Swaggy, and a few other people that were Forex traders decided to code their own software, which is TradeLocker, right? So TradeLocker was made in like 2020 or something like that, and it's a basically upgraded version of MetaTrader. And what got TradeLocker extremely popular was a few years ago, MetaTrader, because MetaTrader is decades old and operates legally with regulation, etc., etc., they removed all offshore unregulated platforms from MetaTrader's platform. Like you didn't have the ability to trade with them anymore. If you were using Hugo's Way, if you were using KOTFX, whatever it is, you didn't have the ability to connect them to MetaTrader anymore, right? So everyone's freaking out. Everyone's saying Forex is terrible, all this and that. But really, it was MetaTrader protecting US, not even US, just regulated platforms and protecting legitimate platforms. They kicked off platforms that aren't good. You know what I mean? The only platforms that got kicked off MetaTrader are, you know, they're scams pretty much, you know, and they're platforms that aren't going to pay you. So they kicked them off. Okay. So what does TradeLocker do? They see the demand. So they partner with all of those brokers. And that's what got TradeLocker extremely popular, is because they made the partnerships with the brokers that MetaTrader kicked off. So if you were to look, every broker that you can trade on TradeLocker, you can't trade on MetaTrader. You know what I mean? If you want to go confirm that, you know what I mean? So that's why it is, though. So to answer your question, that's like why people get confused about what platforms are and why there are different platforms to begin with. So what I just told you is like the entire story of the modern platforms that people use for chart work, pretty much. So since TradingView is the best platform for chart work, exactly, GatesFX is on TradeLocker, but I don't, unless there's only one, I have to do the, I forgot which one it is. There's only one account that you can trade. I believe it's MT5 with GatesFX, but you need to deposit more money in order to trade on that version of GatesFX. So I don't do that one. I think I have STP standard. I'd have to see. But either way, what I'm saying is that GatesFX wouldn't be on MT4 or MT5. Maybe MT5 depending on what actual account type you get. And I will confirm that, and we'll talk about that on Thursday next week. Because I don't have the answer now, but I will get the answer, and I will tell you. But I'm 90% sure that I'm right. I just don't know for sure. But what was I just going to say? Yeah, so TradingView, use it for analyzing, right? So you go to the Cashflow community, okay? You make a decision first. This is how you decide what broker you're going to use, okay? It's really this simple, okay? If you have less than $2,500, use GatesFX. Okay, it's not going to be the biggest deal. It's a big deal when you have more than $2,500. Not in profits, okay? Don't get it confused. In deposits, okay? If you turn $2,500 into $25,000, fucking amazing. Do it. Keep it, right? Don't expect them to give you the full 25K. They probably will. But if they don't, it's cool. They will give you 10. They'll pay you 5. They'll give you 10. They'll give you 15, right? And you just keep doing that over and over. But just don't flip it to $250,000 and expect them to give you $250,000. They're just probably not going to do it, bro. Right? It's just how it is. You know what I mean? Unless you're famous, you're an influencer, or you have a deal with them, they're just not going to give you that money, okay? But comment a 5 if you have $500,000 in your trading account. You know what I mean? So don't worry about that, okay? Most of the people that are starting trading are starting with lesser money. You know, you're a young adult, you're wanting to leave your job, you're just getting started, and you want to make additional income, okay? You need to take risks with doing that, and you need to get the best dollar for dollar amount when you're just getting started, okay? So considering that being said, GatesFX will give you the higher opportunity to make more money, okay, faster, right? Using the same trade, same risk management, same everything, you'll make more money faster using GatesFX. And then when you start getting to high amounts, withdraw your money and put it into Forex.com. Put it into TastyFX, right? If you're like, no, Ollie, listen, dude, I have 10 grand right now and I want to start trading with $10,000, then trade with Forex.com or trade with TastyFX, right? But if your situation is, hey, Ollie, you know, I just paid, you know, for the Cashflow campus, you know, the Cashflow curriculum, whatever, right? Or if you're not and you're a free student, which is completely fine too. If you're a free student, here's my answer to you, right? Do not trade on either one with real money unless you have a comfortable, confident strategy where you're making at least 10 to 15% a month. At least 10 to 15% a month. Doesn't sound like a lot, right? Doesn't sound like a lot, okay? Do that for 3 months and then pick a broker, right? But if you're just getting started and you're like, hey, bro, I have $50, I have $100, where can I start trading? I wouldn't recommend you start trading, bro. I recommend you take that $50 to $100 and put that money into your brain, right? Invest it into your education. That way you can learn what to do, right? And then save up another $100, another $500, and then start trading with Gates Effects, right? When you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, then join Cashflow. But if you do and you're in Cashflow, right, then trade with confidence. Go to phase 2. Go pick a broker. Set it up. Right, ask me questions if you need help with that, right? But to sum it up, okay, less than $2,500, put in Gates, right? Safest thing you can do, okay? And also, they do pretty cool stuff. They do a lot of giveaways, I'm pretty sure. They still do that. Let me see. Yeah, this is like my page. Oh, I forgot I had this. Yeah, so they have MetaTrader 5 still. But it's a different, you need to deposit more money, I'm pretty sure, is what it is. But that's what I'm saying, too. So, Gates Effects being an offshore broker, I would say they legitimately are the best one that you can possibly get. Because they still are on MetaTrader. And since they are on MetaTrader, that means that they have some sort of legitimacy behind the licensing that they have. You know what I mean? I've never had a problem with them, but they have different... If you go on the link, it'll tell you the different brokers that they have. I have the ECN one. I don't have the STP. Yeah, this one's only $10. You can do a $10 minimum deposit, $500 minimum deposit, or $100 minimum deposit. And then yeah, and you can pick your leverage and everything as well. So yeah, this is what they say about the regulation. They're regulated. FISCA is, I don't want to say Australia. I forgot who FISCA is. Maybe the islands, something like that. But either way, though, if you go to the Cashflow community and you click that link, you can go check out the broker for yourself. It's a great platform. All things considered, if you're gonna trade with an offshore platform, there is, and I'll make myself bigger for this. Okay, if you're gonna trade with an offshore platform, I beg you to please do your own research on that platform, okay? If you don't feel like doing the research, okay, right? Trust that I have done the research, okay? I have 2 hours worth of videos going into each broker, okay, in the Cashflow campus, okay? If you're a student, go watch it. If you're not a student, I'll show you the videos for free, right? Either way. But do your own research on it, okay? Don't put your money in a different broker that you're just seeing about, okay? Okay, especially, period, never more than 2,500. If you just have, some big cojones, dude, and you just want to take the risk and you don't give a fuck, dude, and you just are going to put all the money in a broker without doing your research, I'm just begging you, don't do more than 2,500, right? You're lowering the chances of you getting your ROI back, okay? It's better to start with less. You can make a lot of money with $2,500 on an offshore broker, dude. If you put $2,500 into Gates Effects, you can make a lot of money pretty fast, okay? You don't need to put more than that into an offshore broker, okay? Am I saying that you don't need to put more than $2,500 into a U.S. regulated broker? No. Treat your U.S. regulated broker like a savings account. Every spare dollar you have should go into that regulated broker. Whatever it is, Tasty or Forex.com, whichever one. Right? Because they're safe, they're not insured, but it's ensured that they're not going to go anywhere. Okay? They're nationally traded companies. They're publicly traded companies on the NASDAQ, so they're not going anywhere. Okay? And StoneX is a $1 billion fund. Okay? It's not going anywhere. Okay? They're safe. They give you money when you pass 20 grand. So your goal is to start with less than 2,500, get to 20 grand, and then you start trading with whatever bigger broker you choose, okay? So that was the main conversation points that I had. Now that we're going to be getting into the more active sessions, The market, dude, has been very bad. I haven't, even though I haven't been doing that many streams, I haven't been taking that many trades either the last few weeks. But now that we're going to be doing the more streams, or the streams again more often, I am going to be more consistent with my trading. It's just with Trump, dude, the Trump market has been very choppy. You know what I mean? Very choppy, very choppy. I enter a trade, I'll get 15 pips. I have to set it to break even every single time now. Because every single time it just starts going crazy and it just, it stays there for days. But either way, so now we're going to be diving into the market again with each other, okay? What I want you guys to do is make a decision on your broker, right? If you are a cash flow student, just trust me when I'm saying, if you have more than $2,500, choose regulated onshore. If you have less than $2,500, go GatesFX. Just do yourself the favor and do that. That way you can make more money faster and potentially leave your job faster, okay? That's the whole reason why we did this. I was able to leave my job. I want you guys to be able to leave your job now. You know what I mean? In order for us to do that, we have to make right decisions with our money and treat it that way we get the best return, okay? In my opinion, that is how it goes, right? And I have videos explaining all of that inside of the Cashflow campus if you guys go watch that, right? Let me make sure. Tony Spar, got it. MetaTrader, regulated. Trade Locker, unregulated. Pretty much. That's a good rule of thumb, pretty much. Not the platform, but who they're associated with. Who they associate with, pretty much. That's a good rule of thumb, sure. And besides that, though, I would say we had a pretty informative session. Those are the two main questions I had, is how the material works. If any of you guys that are not Cashflow students want to go over anything about how Cashflow works, I'm more than happy to. But like I said, the learning material is all under here, or you can go to courses, okay? Everything about brokers is inside phase 2, okay? I wouldn't recommend, you don't need to finish phase 1, but I don't recommend being a skipper. Oh, I forgot my camera is so big, sorry. Right, phase 2, right here. Brokers are in phase 2. Basically, it's basic, intermediate, advanced, okay? Intermediate stuff is broker setup. Go watch those videos. And if you're going to use GatesFX, do me a favor and do you a favor and use my link, right? There are a couple of different perks that I go over when you use my link. One is I remember it, so I remember you, right? 2 is you get put into different giveaways that they do. They give away laptops, computers, gaming chairs. I haven't won anything yet, unfortunately. But you get different giveaways. That's pretty much it, right? You get flagged as a Cashflow student, and that too. You do get flagged as a Cashflow student, which I believe is important too, because like I said, I kind of have a relationship with not the owner, but he's someone that claims that he knows the owner, so on and so forth. And you get priority support, quote unquote. You know what I mean? That's what it says. They have great support either way, but it helps me out too. You know what I mean? So if you guys use my link, it goes a long way, and I will love you guys forever. But either way, besides that, what else before I let you guys go? Courses are there. If you guys are not a Cashflow student, you can go to Cashflow programs. You can book a free call with me if you want to. You can go to the 7-Day Accelerator, or you can go to Cashflow University. You can check that out. If you have questions about it, let me know. I'm always here to help. If you're a Cashflow student and you have, I let you guys do payment plans all the time. If you have a payment plan with me and you ever feel pressured about your payment plan, just say, hey, Ollie, dude, something's going on. Can we delay the payment, whatever? And, don't ever think about me as the bank. You know what I mean? I'm your mentor. I'm your friend. I'm here to help you guys and here to help you guys grow. Okay. So I charge enough to make sure that, I'm able to support myself doing this full time and that I get my value, you guys get your value. It's actually funny. I have a video too that's breaking down. So the program costs $1,000, right? For those of you guys that, aren't a student yet, right? And I go into how much money I actually make from doing this. Which it really is, it averages out to like $35 to $45 an hour, which is a lot, but it's not a lot at the same time for what I do, dude. I'm on this fucking computer chair 14 hours a day, right? Talking to you guys. But I love doing what I do, and I would never change that. You know what I mean? So what I'm getting at, though, is if you see, oh, Ollie charges $1,000 for his coaching program. What? You know what I mean? Just, you know what I mean? I do my thing, bro. I do my thing, and I make sure you guys get what you are paying for. Trust, okay? But either way, besides that, next stream is going to be possibly Sunday. Possibly Sunday. I will make the confirmation for that inside of the team chat Saturday. Before Sunday, I will make that confirmation. We're going to be playing it by ear a little bit. I'm going to do my best to be consistent. But I just want you guys to be consistent, right? I appreciate you guys for staying on here for an entire hour with me, right? When you did not have to, right? Most people are probably sleeping or, you know, laying up in bed right now, you know, doing something lazy, right? But you guys instead are here, right? And that means that you're serious about your success, right? The only way that we can actually make it, right, to the top, right, is by showing up consistently, okay? It requires a day in and day out grind, right? Is trading physically demanding? Absolutely not, right? Is it a little bit mentally demanding? Sure, okay? But it'll change your life, dude. It changed my life. I'm not rich yet, okay? By any means, I'm nowhere where I want to be. But if I never got started with trading, I would still be working at Metro PCS, maybe making $20 an hour, maybe if I'm lucky, but probably not. You know what I mean? And I would probably hate my fucking life. You know, the same way that 90% of the people do in the world. 99% of the population hates their life, but is too lazy to make any changes about it, right? So I know most of you guys are unhappy or wanting more with your financial situation. So we just got to get to work, man. Right? If you're not trading yet, start trading. If you're not trading demo, start trading demo. Ollie, I don't know how to trade demo. Watch the courses, bro. Right? If Ollie, I don't know what courses to watch. Ask me what course to watch. Ask what video to watch. Go into the team chat and say, hey, I'm confused. What do I do? And I'll answer you, right? Ollie, I'm not in the Cashflow chat. Text me. And I'll send you the link to join the Cashflow app. It's free to join the Cashflow app, right? And it's free to ask questions. The only dumb question is the one you do not ask, ladies and gentlemen. Cool, Fernando. Yeah, I'll let you know if it went through or not, but I'm pretty sure. But either way, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying is take action. What I'm getting at is take action, guys, okay? In between now and my next stream, just do what you need to do, right? Everything is in your favor. Everything is there for you, right? Sometimes I feel like, oh, man, I'm not doing the streams. You know, the students aren't going to be able to learn, right? But I gave you guys everything, right? You just got to go into the material and watch it, right? If you're not a Cashflow student, then talk to me about joining Cashflow. I work with you guys, right, to make sure that I give you something that you can start doing to start learning, okay, and start trading, right? There's no reason why you guys can't start trading, right? I'm going to do my best to at least do 2 streams a week. That way I can at least give you guys market updates and answer questions, right? I'm going to do 1 live trading, 1 Q&A session, right? And if there's no questions, then I'll just do another trading session, whatever. But either way, in between now and the next stream, get in the Cashflow app, send your trades, ask questions, engage with the other students, right? The more active we get it, the more popular we get it, the more, one, active I will need to be, the more streams I will need to do. If everyone's asking a question, I'm going to need to do this a lot more, and I'm going to need to do the streams a lot more anyways. So that means we'll be more talking more with each other, which is great. And it just helps us grow, right? So either way, and it helps you grow, right? So what I want you to do this week is focus on growing, right? Learning, growing. If you don't have a demo account set up, if you have less than $2,500, trade with GatesFX, make a free GatesFX demo account and trade with them. If you have more than $2,500, make a free TastyFX account and trade with TastyFX for free on demo. Once you hit 15% on demo account, boom, you're ready to switch to live money. If you're struggling with your live capital, right, that's a different story. That's where, you know, we communicate a bit more and we can schedule a one-on-one call with each other and we'll see what we can do, right? But either way, this week, between now and next week, start trading, get in the markets, get on a demo account, get in Cashflow if you're not in Cashflow. And, yeah. So before I let everybody go, is there any questions, any comments, any concerns, anything that you guys want me to hit on the head really quick before we go ahead and end the call off? Tony Spark too, by the way, bro. I know you said that you're a new trader too. I didn't get confirmation if you are a Cashflow student or not. If you are, cool. I would love to reconnect and you let me know who let me know who you are. If you're not, then just if you need help, bro, let me know. I'm always here to help you, dude. My number is 561-377-2122. If you ever need any help, you can just always call me, text me, whatever you want to do. That's my phone right here. But I'll give you guys another chance. Any questions, comments, or concerns before I let you guys go? If not, then can you guys do me a favor? Right, whenever this call is done, just go over here, right, and just say something nice. Great call, right? For example, right? Great call. Wow, learn so much about brokers. Something like that, right? And just go press post, right? That'll do me a huge favor. It'll make me feel like these calls are worth it, and it'll make me show up next week, right? But with that, guys, if you don't have any other questions, let me see. Should we risk like $300 to start trading again? I want to do a demo, but I heard and know myself it won't be serious for me if my own money isn't involved. Perspective, bro, perspective. So, one, I would say do demo just to fucking force yourself to get over that. You know what I mean? Because I agree with that 100%. That is, you don't have the emotional attachment to it, right? But it teaches you two things, right? It teaches you, one, delayed gratification, right? Two, teaches you patience, which you need, right? Is it going to teach you to value your money? No, right? But when we trade with systems, right, you're going to calculate your risk. If your risk is 5% per trade, period, your risk is going to be 5% per trade, period. It's not really determined by how you feel about the money. So I would say make yourself trade on the demo for at least a week, bro. At least a week, maybe 2 weeks, just to force yourself to do it. But if you're not doing it good, then there's no reason to trade with real money. Because the $300 isn't going to be a life-changing thing either way. And more than likely, if we have the lack of discipline, to be completely transparent, lack of discipline to trade with demo, then you more than likely are going to lose the $300 anyways, bro. That's just being real. From experience on my own, dude. You know what I mean? It's when you feel like, hey, bro, you got to make the money. That's when you don't make any money. So I would recommend, if you haven't been trading for a little bit of time, I would recommend, trade on a demo for the main purpose of learning the strategy again and building delayed gratification. That way, when you trade with the $300, it's going to maybe take you a month, maybe 2 months to double/triple that. Turn 300 into 600 to 900 safely. Maybe not even that long, bro. It just depends on the level of aggression. That's a whole different conversation. But if you're trading safely, it's going to take some time, right? So that's where you need delayed gratification. So I would say, to answer your question, sum it up. If you have $300 to start trading with, what you could do is deposit the money, trade that either with me or very, very, very low risk, or wait to deposit it until you've done a little bit of percentage on a demo account, like 10 to 15%, I would say. Strictly, and again, not even for the emotional aspect, for a business aspect. I would say that for a business aspect. You want to see if your business strategy works, for example. If you have the opportunity to start a business model, what I would always recommend you do is get the opinion of the public first, right? Even potentially do some sales first, even before you started making the product, right? To see how the audience reacts, right? And then you start doing it. I would say it's better to be prepared than to be unprepared versus paying for the LLC, paying for, product, paying for marketing services, paying for t-shirts or whatever, but you haven't made one customer yet or one sale yet. You know what I'm saying? And the way that would translate to business for trading is don't start trading with real money if you haven't, again, learned the strategy or learned the patience or learned the other business mechanics of trading is what I'm getting at. So not for emotional, because I have heard that too, and I agree. You're not emotionally attached to the money at all. But what you need to be emotionally attached to is your financial future, right? You need to be emotionally attached to your goals, your vision for yourself 20 years from now. You know what I mean? That you need to be emotionally attached to. And in order for you to get to that goal, you need to treat trading like a business, right? That way it eventually will get you to that point. You know what I mean? So sometimes always fast isn't always the best method. Yes, fast is fun and success loves speed, but also if you go too fast, you fall on your face. You know what I'm saying? So in the situation, because I know your situation, bro. We've been in conversation for a little bit of time. So because of your situation, I would say make yourself trade on the demo, not for the psychological, oh man, it's not real money, but the psychological, damn, this is my money that I'm gonna be trading. This is my future. Let me take it serious and go a little bit slow to begin with, if that makes sense. And I'll go into that further on a different day, because that's kind of a conversation point, actually. And I talk about that in Think and Grow Your Frequency, right? On how to, what delayed gratification really is and stuff. So that's a mindset course for trading. And Christo, dude, the golden question. Nice, bro. I'm glad it makes sense. The golden question, Christo. So to sum it up, bro, right now, no. Be fully transparent with you, dude. I felt bad. I felt bad that I was gonna start charging money for my streaming when there was only like 50 people in the app. And I wasn't even doing the streams that consistently yet. Because I was still in the transition process of the app. So what I did is, right now everything's just free, pretty much. So what I did, instead of it being where the schedule is subscription based, now it's like this, bro, where it's just member based. So if you are in Cashflow University, which you are, and your membership is paid off, which I'm pretty sure yours is, the $1,000 is paid off, I'm pretty sure for you. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is gonna be same thing as I've always done. Same thing, is just free for you guys, pretty much. So it's students only as of right now. I'm not doing the subscription right now. I just felt bad. It was a massive fucking headache too, dude. You have no idea, bro, how hard it was to explain everything to everybody. I got because there's like 300 students in Cashflow, dude, and as you can see, there's only 105 members in the app right now. So there's a lot of them that are missing, right? So whenever I sent the link out initially, people saw, because at first I was giving it away for 45 days for free, right? You get transferred in 45 days for free. It was good. Everyone that read it understood it and was happy with that and understood you can cancel it anytime. You still had the app, you still had the courses and everything. But 90% of them, bro, said, what do you mean I have to pay? Again, what do you mean a subscription? I thought you said it was lifetime access. And then they just never fucking joined, which was my bad. I should have, I guess, understood how I wrote it. Maybe it was a little bit confusing. So as of right now, to answer your question, dude, I just deleted all of that. So it's all free as of right now. In the future, once we get our numbers up, maybe I'll do subscription in the future for the trades and the live streams and everything. But at this point, I'm just doing that. Something I do kind of do like on a one-on-one basis is private coaching, just depending on the individual circumstance. So we could talk about that in the future though. As of right now though, the streams, but that's also why I'm not like the most consistent with them. You know what I mean? So I'm finding a middle ground where I can show up consistently, and then eventually when the numbers are higher, there's 500 people in the app, there's 1,000 people in the app, etc. I'm getting 50 people on the calls. Then at that point, I'll probably transition into a low paid subscription. Tony Spark, bro, To answer your last and final question, I don't, because I still don't know who you are, bro. But hopefully I do find out who you are. But to answer your question, CFX was a new product that we were gonna potentially launch, where it was gonna be a subscription, where I was gonna do daily live streams and daily live trades alongside. It was gonna be basically like an additional product to students only. Like if you finish like the university, then you're qualified to be in the actual subscription. It wasn't like for beginners though. So like if you're not a Cashflow student, like you wouldn't have had the ability to sign up for it either way. Because I don't want you to rely on me for trades, but it's a way for you to learn and trade with me pretty much. But as of right now, it's not a thing. It's not active. So whenever I do relaunch that, if I ever do relaunch that, I'll let you guys know. But as of right now, it's not a thing. Yeah, so you're good, bro. So you're good. So Christo, next stream should be, again, either Sunday. That's going to be a free one, though. So the next student stream, I just have to pick a day. I don't know. If there are any students watching this, though, you guys tell me, do you guys want me to do Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday? Oh, you know what we should do? We should do Friday. Because Friday's NFP. We should do Friday. Maybe I'll do Friday anyways. But out of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, what day, you tell me, Krista, what day do you want me to do it? You tell me, and then I'll see if I can commit to that day. Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday for students. Or you can text me, whatever. If I don't know, you can just text me. But we'll figure that out. We'll make a poll. So one of the days this week, I'm gonna do a students only call, and then I'm gonna do another public call to everybody. So we're gonna go ahead and end it there, guys. I had a great call. You know what I mean? Let me take a quick little video, you guys. All right. Hey, we're on the live stream. We got our people here. We're chilling. Having a good night. Peace. Alright. But, cool. So Monday, we'll probably do Monday. If you guys need anything from me in between now and then, tomorrow is Friday. Market closes on Friday, so we're chilling. But use the weekend to your advantage, guys. You know, just get ahead, study. If you're in the Cashflow campus, use it, study it. If you're not in the Cashflow campus, get in the Cashflow campus. But with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it off. I'm a little bit sleepy. If you guys got some value from tonight's call, do me a favor, drop a 7 in the chat for me, and also go to the Cashflow app and write a post. Write a post saying something about tonight's call. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. If you guys did get some value, do me a favor, drop a 7 in the chat for me. That'll be absolutely beautiful. Some 777s. I would do it if I could. But I don't have my sign. I'm not signed in on the chat here. But yeah, if you guys can, you know, drop a 7 in the chat, and then go to the team chat inside of the Cashflow campus and just write a nice little post about the call. But with that, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end it off there. I had an amazing time with you guys. Appreciate you all hanging out with me for the night. Let me do this. Nice. Hey, we got some 7s there. Hey, shout out to Tony Spark, bro. I appreciate you, my dog. Hope you guys have an amazing night. God bless. Stay abundant. I'll see you guys on Sunday/Monday. And I'll see you guys at the top, because the bottom is way too crowded. Peace. Have an amazing night. And if you guys need me, you guys know where to find me, dude. I'm always right there anyways. So, peace. Have a good night.